Welcome, dearly beloved anointed ones. Did you know that in the realm of high-stakes psychology, the human brain perceives a total lack of reaction as a greater existential threat than an act of open aggression? It's a chilling truth. When you stopped responding, you didn't just walk away, you triggered a psychological black hole in the minds of those who sought to destroy you. They expected a fight. They had their screenshots ready, their narratives polished, and their fake tears on standby. But you gave them a void. And now, that void is starting to swallow their reality. They thought they were the ones writing your ending, but while they were busy laughing at your pain, the universe was quietly moving the crown to a head they swore would never wear one. Buckle up, chosen one. This isn't a story of survival. It is a cinematic revelation of how your silence became a spiritual death sentence for their ego. They saw your gentleness and mistook it for an invitation to walk over you. They observed your patience and assumed you were too desperate to leave. But here is what they never realized. Your kindness was a choice, not a personality flaw. It was rooted in a level of internal strength they cannot even comprehend. Chosen one, they treated your heart like a temporary thrill, gambling on the dust of gossip while holding a diamond they weren't wise enough to value. They thought they could dim your light to make their own flicker look brighter. But real light doesn't just disappear because someone closes their eyes. Instead, your shine exposed the very rot they were trying to hide within themselves. They wanted you smaller so they could feel bigger. But now they are standing in a darkness they created, realizing that your presence was the only thing making their world look habitable. At number 2, let's talk about the investigation. They went digging for dirt. They called old friends, whispered to ex-colleagues, and scrolled through years of your digital footprint, hoping to find a single skeleton to justify their hate. They wanted a scandal. They wanted a receipts folder full of your failures. But the shovel snapped in half. Because you've been living so authentically, even the people they hoped would betray you ended up testifying to your integrity. They didn't find secrets. They found well-folded clothes and a consistent character that speaks for itself when you aren't in the room. You're boring. Life became their worst nightmare. While they were out here moving, sloppy, you were building a spiritual bulletproof vest made of quiet discipline. They realized too late that you didn't need to defend your name. Your life had already done the talking. There is a weight to betrayal that goes beyond bruised feelings. It is a generational loss. They traded a meaningful connection with an anointed soul for a hollow pursuit that is already starting to taste like ashes. They chose the rush of instant gratification over the stability of a divine blueprint. Chosen one, you were their test. The assignment was simple: respect the blessing. But they failed miserably because their ego was too loud to hear the frequency of your worth. They didn't just lose a person. They forfeited access to the divine favor that flows when you are aligned with someone of your caliber. Now they are watching from the sidelines as you rise into a narrative they've been permanently written out of. They are learning the hard way that once you discard a masterpiece, you are left to spend the rest of your life surrounded by a mess. But here's the chilling part. The universe does not respond to names. It responds to energy. They spent months, maybe years, praying for your downfall. They wished for your failure as if it were a ritual. But when you attack innocence, karma doesn't just knock, it erupts. Every curse they whispered in secret has now become a boomerang that is currently tearing through their own house. The sickness, the financial storms, the sudden abandonment, the very things they laughed at you for are now unpacking their bags in their living room. You didn't have to light a candle or pray for revenge. You stayed clean-hearted. And because their toxic energy couldn't find a landing spot on your high frequency, it had no choice but to return to the sender with interest. They are now begging a silent God for the peace they tried to steal from you. Chosen one, you are the most dangerous person alive because you no longer seek permission to exist. Your authenticity is a threat to their mediocrity. In a world where everyone is wearing a mask, your raw, unfiltered truth acts as a mirror that forces them to look at the insecurities they've spent a lifetime burying. They hate your glow-up because it's unexplainable. You didn't fight dirty. You didn't smear them back. You simply grew. And that growth is the evidence that their weapons didn't just fail. They were never in the same league as your destiny. They expected you to be bitter, but instead you became better. They expected you to disappear, but you became uncontainable. They thought they were the genius behind the scenes, pulling the strings of everyone's perception of you. They ran a smear campaign, dressed up as concern. But time is the truth's microphone. The same web they wove to trap you is now choking them. People are starting to compare notes. The coworkers are noticing the inconsistencies. The pawns are stepping off the board. Suddenly, the puppet master is the one looking unstable. They underestimated how loud the truth becomes when it's confirmed by multiple unrelated sources. You became the plot twist they never saw coming because your silence allowed them to expose their own hand. They tried to play God in your life, deciding what you deserved and attempting to halt what was divinely timed. But the divine does not share authority with manipulators. They are now experiencing a heavy, spiritual silence. They are praying, but nothing is shifting. They are trying to manifest, but nothing sticks. It is a divine timeout. Because they mishandled the person God anointed, they've lost the covering that once made their life feel easy. They are spiritually exiled, standing outside the gates they once tried to guard, watching as you are crowned in the very rooms they swore you'd never enter. In the end, your silence wasn't weakness, it was a strategy. It was the sound of you preserving your power while they leaked theirs into the wind. You were the blueprint they didn't recognize. And now, as they tried to piece together a version of the success you've already mastered, they are realizing that the original is gone and the door is locked with the key of your transformation. They can't access the version of you that exists now. That person who tolerated disrespect is dead. You have evolved into a force they can no longer touch, no longer influence, and no longer understand. Your growth is the ultimate verdict. It is the spiritual justice that proves they didn't just lose you, they lost the version of themselves they could have been if they had chosen integrity over ego. Anointed One, your story is not a tragedy. It is a masterpiece of divine inversion. They laughed at your pain, and now they are haunted by your peace. You were the blessing they couldn't see, and now they'll have to live with the regret of never being worthy of it. Stay grounded. Stay glowing. Stay chosen. If this message resonated with the frequency of your soul, do not let this moment pass. Hit that subscribe button and join this community of rare gems who are rewriting the rules of the game. Drop a comment below and declare, "The silence has spoken." Like this video if you've seen the boomerang return in your own life, and share it with another chosen one who is currently being mocked. Remind them that their crown is being forged in that very fire. Your voice matters. Your journey is valid. And your rise is just beginning. See you in the next one. God bless you.